terms sex and gender are often used interchangeably despite having different meanings and not even being necessarily correlated. In this video, we'll discuss how to define sex and gender and why it's important to recognize them as separate things. Hi there, and welcome to the MJ channel. Today we're discussing the difference between sex and gender and why thinking of them as always correlated is not necessarily accurate. If you're interested in learning more about gender and want to know how to explore your own gender identity, the MJ app has a collection to guide you. You can get a 7-day free trial by clicking the link up here or in the description. Let's start by defining what sex and gender mean. The term sex refers to a set of biological attributes and is usually assigned to us depending on how our genitals look when we're born. So the doctor or our parents will look at us, see whether we have a penis or a vulva, and decide based on that we are either male or female. In reality, sex is not as simple as it seems, and if we take into consideration both the internal and external genitalia, as well as biological, anatomical, physiological, and chromosomal characteristics of human beings, there's more than just those two options. However, the classification of human sexuality has been largely based on this binary idea that's not necessarily open to all options, and most people are classified as one or the other at birth. On the other hand, we have gender, a set of ideas, beliefs, and social and political attributions which are built into each culture and historical moment based supposedly on sexual difference. So it is about our personal sense of being a man or a woman or of not fitting neatly into either of those choices. In most cultures, after looking at a baby's genitals and assigning them as either male or female depending on whether they have a penis or a vulva, they are raised to fulfill the expectation of the gender that we have learned belongs with the sex in question. So if they were assigned female at birth, they'll be expected to do things like wear dresses or have long hair. And if they were assigned male because of the way their body looks, they'll be expected to be into things like sports and cars. It'll be assumed that a vulva means they're a woman and a penis means they're a man. The thing is, every person is different, and the idea that everyone who has a vulva would identify with a set of things and everyone who has a penis will identify with different ones does not make a lot of sense. Of course, there's a lot of people who do identify with the gender traditionally associated with their sex. When this is the case, they're called cisgender, because the prefix cis means on the same side as, and they remain on the same side as the gender they were identified with at birth. Someone saw their genitals, figured that because of them this person must be either a man or a woman, and it just so happened that they were. But that's not the case for everyone. There's an incredible variation in the things that people can enjoy, identify with, and in the behaviors that they can have. And this means that gender can't be constrained into just the two models of a man or a woman. Again, to say that everyone with a certain set of genitals will identify with the same things or that they should identify with the same things is a big stretch and ignores the reality of transgender and non-binary individuals. Transgender and non-binary people, as opposed to cisgender people, don't identify with the sex and social gender they were assigned with when they were born. They may connect socially, aesthetically, and emotionally with the opposite one, or they may have an entirely different identity that doesn't fit into any of the two traditional genders. There's an incredible amount of different gender identities, and the only way to know what someone's identity is and how they want to be referred to is to just ask them. In the past few years, members of this community have been empowered to express themselves as they really are, thanks to the fact that we're talking about gender as a social construction that does not have to be linked to sex. Listen. It's true that for generations we have been raised to think that things can only be a certain way, so it can be very difficult to start seeing them in a different light. But once you do, a whole new world of freedom and possibility opens up. There's a lot more to say about gender identity, gender expression, how to acknowledge the different ways in which gender presents itself, and on how to explore your own gender. And it can be very overwhelming at first. But if you're interested in the subject and want to learn more about it, consider heading over to the MJ app and listening to our collection on gender. You can click here or go to the link in the description to register and get a 7-day free trial. Follow us on social media for more on sex, self-love, and wellness. Subscribe to the channel by clicking here, and click on this video if you want to learn how to boost your sex drive. See you on the next one.